Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Twist Happy Hour, where conversations and cocktails collide, usually in a hilarious form, especially when you watch Kate turn around her shirt because it's backwards right before you record.
I didn't know. It's fine.
So today, let's kick it off with our cocktail, which is going to be a classic bee's knees. And Kate is going to be using Empress Gin, which has that beautiful purple color, and I'm just going to use regular old gin because
I didn't even unwrap it yet.
You didn't even unwrap. We'll start unwrapping and I'll start walking us through what we have to do.
I'm so excited.
So I'm actually making a lavender bee's knees because I happen to have lavender honey syrup, which is really just a cup of honey, cup of water, mix it all together in, till it's nice and warm and simmering. And then I added in some dried lavender to kind of bring out that taste. It's so good. It's like my happy drink. And it's so easy if you have it. And finally opening a bottle of Empress Gin is not easy because Kate is still working.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so we're going to do 2 ounce. We're going to get our little shaker thingies.
Mine has drink recipes.
We'll have to do some of those sometime. So we're going to do 2 ounces of gin.
Okay.
I like Roku gin for this kind of stuff, but I think I'm really curious about the Empress Gin and how that's going to
different. Roku gin, different than the thing that you make on that is on your television.
Yes, very different from the streaming device you can plug into.
The lady at the liquor store was very confused when I said Roku gin. She was like,
"That's so
EV thing?" And I was like, "No."
All right, then we're going to do, so we did 2 ounces gin, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. Yes, everybody, I'm looking at my notes because I don't have every recipe memorized, although this one's pretty close.
Gonna real quick pick the lemon crud out of mine. Okay.
I worry for you.
Changing color.
It is. See, we should have shown how it changes color when you add the citrus.
It wasn't that exciting. I apologize.
Never mind. All right, now you're going to have, I have my lavender honey simple syrup, and Kate's going to just use honey simple syrup.
I don't know how much I'm supposed to use.
I'm sorry. Just a half an ounce.
Okay, well, that was way more. Mine's going to be super sweet.
Super sweet. Okay. So then you're just going to put your ice in. Okay. Sorry. It gets stuck in my little holder thing.
Okay, I'm ready.
And then everybody close your ears because we're going to go shake a.
Oh, take your headphones out.
With maracas.
Is there like a right amount to shake or no?
You usually want to shake like 15 to 30 seconds because you're chilling it all down. We do it a little shorter just for the show because it's really loud.
We don't want to bore you. All right, let's pouring.
So now you're pouring, and I'm trying to pour.
It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And I'll tell you guys if it's disgustingly sweet because I put all my honey in.
Wow.
I didn't put it all. I tried to make honey simple syrup on the fly before we got on air, and I just took honey and mixed it with water.
So because I have lavender, I'm going to put a little sprig of dried lavender on mine to make it pretty.
Ooh, that's a pretty glass. I like that glass.
I got this from the Long Beach Vintage Mart. It was her grandmother's. And
it's not sweet. I'm probably going to put more honey in that bad boy.
Okay.
Maybe a little too much lemon juice.
Like 3/4 of an ounce, right?
I don't know. I just squeezed a lemon. Sometimes you just got to wing it, I
mean, let's do it.
For the people that are just going to make this after work, you know what I mean? That are just like, I just need to pour one out. Don't go overboard on the lemon is my advice.
That's when I just grabbed the wine. But speaking of wine, let's talk about tariffs because everybody's been freaking out about tariffs.
Am I whining about?
You can whine about the tariffs, but also the tariffs that will be on wine.
Oh, God. Are they going to put tariffs on wine?
If they don't come to a good agreement, I mean, think about it. Champagne from France. And, supposedly there's some UK deal that is happening or has happened or did happen. I don't know. I feel like they're like, yes, it's done. And they're like, no, we're still working out the money.
I don't drink champagne from France because I'm not that bougie, but I drink Prosecco from Italy, I want to say.
That could be, yes, Prosecco's from Italy, Cava's from Spain. But yeah, all of that, there is the potential for more tariffs on that, meaning it will cost us more to get.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
So I don't know if you have seen or if the viewers/listeners have seen, but TikTok is now blowing up with people who are getting bills from FedEx and UPS and DHL for crap that they bought online, didn't have a weird price that was just priced. They paid shipping, did the whole thing, and are now getting bills for like $1,300 for the government tax. And it's the tariffs because I had to look at it. I'm like, well, why would they? Meanwhile, my husband's like, I'm just not paying that. But it is because they incur the cost when it is shipped into the United States. And then they are passing, as all the economists said, they are then passing it on to the consumer. But you don't know what it's going to be from moments like, from your order to whenever. And people are getting these in the mail like weeks and months, like a month, up to a month later.
Yeah. Well, especially so I found out about this today because of Kate. So I quickly did my research because I'm like, surely not. This is a scam. Every time anybody asks for money from me, I'm like, it's a scam. It's a phishing scheme.
She literally texted me and was like, that's a scam.
I know. I'm like, that's not real. And she's like, no. Go look it up on TikTok. So I did. But then I also like went down the rabbit hole because I'm like, okay, TikTokers, as much as I love you all and I dance along,
you gotta fact check.
I got to fact check it. So I started looking for news articles and I finally found one from Washington Post. And I think it was probably reprinted on MSN. That says, no, this is legit. And it's mostly because nobody has any clue what's happening. And so they can't put it on your bill, your initial bill saying, yes, this and plus
this is going to be
$100 government tax until it shows up at your door. And then before UPS, FedEx, whoever hands you your package, you have to pay this bill.
You have to pay it.
It's not even this like retroactively later on you're getting a bill. It's literally they won't give you that thing that you just ordered that happened to come from China or Australia. So,
and the problem is that we don't know what the number is. Like, it's not like you can mentally calculate. The number's changing daily. So it's like, how do I know if it's going to be 30%, 10%, 20%, 15%, 40%, 125%? Who knows?
Yeah. I was reading that this one
country,
gal,
it's different.
Oh, well, of course. Well, this one gal had ordered some clothes from like some designer in Australia or whatever, but it wasn't that, like, it was like $150 worth of clothes, something like that. And she got like a $1,700 bill. Now, these numbers, I'm not sure, like, if they're exact or whatever. But I mean, she had the best point ever. She's like, I could have literally flown to Australia, gone to the store, bought it, come back, and it would have been less because suddenly that $50 t-shirt is now $375 because of a tariff, which isn't great. But it's also, we as people of the US are so used to online shopping and not thinking about where anything's coming from. And suddenly we're realizing, oh, these people have a higher tariff. This has this.
Matters. Well, and to your Australian lady point, would she have to pay the tariffs when she brought it back into the United States? You have to pay customs.
That's true. But you only have to pay customs after you reach a certain amount.
Yes, but they waived that. It used to be
$800 goods for tariff customs. I know they took away that. So
everybody do your own research. But
I was going to say, we're going to fact check that.
Before you like take a vacation to Amsterdam to go thrifting or whatever, make sure that you know, is what I buy here going to be tariff free, or am I going to pay tariffs upon reentry of the United States? Because
really messes up my
there's some really good stores in Amsterdam.
Well, I was going to say, I'm like, you know me so well with the thrift shopping in Amsterdam, which I haven't done yet, but I've thrift shopped in a lot of other countries. But I also like pick up different gins and scotch and whiskey and stuff when I travel, and then I throw it in my checked bag. But now I'm just going to always have to do it at duty free, which I will say the Dublin duty free store is like my happy place. Oh. And Dublin's the only airport I've ever been to where I've asked, they're like, do you need more? And I'm like, well, no, because I can only fit this in my backpack and then I'll be over my allowance to like walk on the plane. And, just for baggage alone, they're like, no. They know you have an airport shopping allowance. So you can literally walk on with a third bag of as long as it's in that duty free stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
That's nice.
And they carry a lot of stuff I really like. Now, a couple of them that are like super micro distilleries, they don't. But I'm like, my writer's tier whiskey. Oh yeah, let's do that. If I really feel like I need more Dingle gin, although I can find.
Well, you're going to be only in the duty free now because I don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect. Because a lot of people go on vacation we're supposed to go to Italy next year. I'm going to buy stuff and bring it home for my mom and my brother. You know what I mean? Like. That's normal.
Shopping could just like rip the tags off and be like, no, like this was mine.
This was mine.
But,
I guess you could do that with any. I don't know.
Liquor starter.
I'm sure there's a workaround for all of this, right? So, as Brian said, don't just throw it away. Don't pay it. I don't know if that's legal, and I cannot give people that advice. I don't know if it'll affect your credit score, but I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to ask a lot of questions about this, because you bought $150 worth of clothes and you got a $1,700 bill. Like,
yeah. I mean, think about all the companies like Temu and ASOS and all those other ones that are like, just, I mean, I don't recommend people do that because it's fast fashion and it's really bad for the environment, but people are still doing it. And suddenly that like dollar whatever, okay, well now like that's the fair value, not what you actually paid. You have to pay tariffs on the fair value of the product. So even if it's on sale, well, if it's on sale, like say, usually $50 and it's on sale for $25, but the product's actually worth $50, that's usually what you have to pay a tax on.
I didn't even think of that.
Or a tariff on. So I also want to know, this also came up.
The sale's not even worth it.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I'm like, suddenly you're not saving any money. So what's the point? Why would you shop there? Which is just going to like destroy.
Yeah, I have seen my entire For You page the last couple of days has been people posting about what they are. And it's both business owners that are getting their stuff that they make their wares with, right? And then it is people who are just like, I ordered, shoes or whatever it is, and are getting a bill later and are like, but now is later. When did this go into place? Like about a month ago, a couple weeks ago. So now is when they're going to start getting those bills. So if everybody's going to get billed a month later, I don't know.
I don't really understand how they're getting billed a month later, because they've already received the product. That's what I don't quite get, because you could just be like, what are you going to do if I don't pay it?
Yeah.
Well, if you are being handed the product and essentially being handed a COD, a cash on delivery notice, before the carrier can hand you over the package. Okay, what if I say, no, I'm not going to pay that? Do they take the package back and then ship it back? Like,
well, either way, even if they ship it back, the tariff still stands.
Yeah.
Because it was imported into the country. So then it's going to affect companies like DHL and FedEx and UPS.
So they now stuck.
Their bottom line is going to go tank, which, I mean, I don't know how much like loyalty people have to like shipping companies or whatever. But again, like then it causes mass layoffs. Like we don't want that,
Well, people have to use it. And like even like cargo shipping across the ocean, that's going to be. And, I used to work for a book publisher and we shipped via cargo ships all the time. And to the point that I actually had somebody ask me to go to a port and pick up their books because they were afraid they'd be late. And I'm like, I'm not actually allowed in there. I really needed like a helicopter.
Just like flash it back.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't drop down in the middle of the ocean, find your container and pick up your 200 books on this.
If you could Tom Cruise that'd be great.
I would have to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really interesting, the economists all were like, well, you're not going to see it right away. You're going to see it months from now, whatever. And it kind of goes back to what we talked about on the other episode where we were talking about the Constitution, habeas corpus. You have to look at things past point A. How is this going to affect, like I said, the UPS drivers? Are they going to all lose their jobs because UPS goes under because nobody's paying for it? People are refusing delivery or whatever the case may be. How is that going to affect business overall? How is it going to affect businesses that are shipping their things into the United States and then selling them? You have to think about things past this initial, it's great.
Well, the whole point of tariffs was like, the current administration wanted businesses to come back to the US and be producing here. Well, that's going to take a lot of time. I know we've talked about this before. That takes at least a lot of economists have said, like 10 years in order to get a manufacturing up and running, staff it, build it, get all the systems in place. Plus the US is just a very, very expensive place to manufacture. When I was in book publishing, every single, we worked with a lot of museums, they always were like, oh, well, give us a price because we'd like to print in the US. The US was 5-10 times more than Singapore, China. I think the only other place that was on par with the US was like Belgium. We could print somewhere else, like in the UK, and it would be cheaper than the US.
And people don't understand why that is. And it's because their pay rate is lower for employment, which people are like, well, why do they work for so much less? Well, their cost of living is lower, so they can. And then also their shipping cost, because when you're in Singapore and you're going to print a book, your paper factory isn't in the United States. We barely have any paper factories left in the States. No, it's right next door in China. And they will get it to you quick and easy, and it's funny because everybody keeps saying, well, China's going to rue the day. They're not going to bend on it. They're going to rue the day. And I'm like, we're one teeny tiny country that China supplies to. You know who China supplies to most? China.
Yeah.
Because
they have the population.
They have a huge population and they all buy Chinese products because that's where they're all made. And people don't, it's like going back to the manufacturing in the US, there's two issues with that. One, if we keep flip-flopping on these tariffs, everybody that keeps saying he's going to negotiate, he's such a great negotiator, and these guys are going to come crawling and negotiating. Okay, great. They're going to negotiate it back down to what it was before he decided to go this route. But then that doesn't bring business back to the United States. So, because that was what the goal was, right? So that's problematic. And then two, it's going to take, like you said, it's going to take years. The lumber that we get to build the factory, just an empty factory. The lumber is from Canada. Okay. The machinery we need inside of the factory to get the textiles or whatever it is made. All of the pieces for that machinery come from somewhere else. So now we have to build the factory to make the little pieces for the machinery. And we have to build the lumber mills. Like,
we have to grow the forest we already destroyed, everything else in the
And I am with the American mindset of we need to bring back manufacturing to the United States because we don't make anything here. And I think that's a problem for us. However, we've taken such a long time to screw ourselves out of it. It's going to take a long, long time to screw ourselves back into it.
Yeah, this isn't going to be fixed now.
It's not a quick fix. And again, if you keep negotiating the tariffs back down, it'll never get stick to your guns, I guess. I don't know. I think it's going to be a much bigger issue much further down the road. It's funny because Brian's uncle was a pharmaceutical, he was a shipping, like a supplier for major pharmaceutical companies. And he's like, we don't make any of the stuff that goes into the drugs that we take here at all. The United States makes intelligence. Our GDP is based on intelligence, ideas, innovation. We are tech.
But then we're not actually be made.
We're not a factory country anymore. We were, and during the Industrial Revolution, but things have changed, and we weaseled our way out of that, thinking it was going to be the greatest thing. But now, you're getting outsourced by companies by countries that are able to do the manufacturing. I mean, have to look at it as a problem we caused and it took years to cause. So the solution is going to take years to implement.
It can't just be, I have an idea, we should put tariffs on. It needs to be, I have an idea, we need to add tariffs after or while we figure out this plan to bring manufacturing back into the country.
Yeah.
It can't just be like, tariffs will fix it and naturally everything will trickle down. It's not going to happen that way.
Well, and nothing is a quick fix. Everything that, not to go off on a totally different tangent, but if something is broken, which I think that everyone on the right and left can say, there's a lot broken in the country. Before Trump, before Biden, we have a lot to work on, right? We need to be improving.
We've been resting on our laurels way too much.
I think we all agree, Congress is term limits. Every single person I've ever talked to was absolutely, they should have term limits. Even Mitt Romney was yes, we should have term limits. And I was me and Mitt.
An age limit. Term and age.
I think that a lot of people agree on those things, but it comes down to if we keep arguing these point A pieces, it's never going to improve. We have to have you can't just go, well, this doesn't work, get rid of it, because you have to have a plan for the long term. And how is this going to affect future generations? How is it going to affect the country moving forward? No one seems to, they're the Department of Education sucks, we're getting rid of it. The FEMA sucks, we're getting rid of it. That doesn't work.
Because there's no backup plan in place to do what those departments are already handling.
Right. And if my refrigerator and my dishwasher break, I don't just go, I'll just put them out to the curb and then hope my food doesn't go bad. You either get them fixed or you replace them. This is the common sense of that. And I think every single American would replace their refrigerator. This is rationality that does not escape them. They're yeah, if it breaks, I would either get somebody to fix it or I would replace it. We need to do the same with our institutions.
Yeah. Well, once again, politics have hyped us up and cocktails have mellowed us out. Thanks for joining us for today's Twist Happy Hour. Remember to follow and subscribe and like and share with your friends who want to talk about everything and anything.
And don't get mad at us. We're just talking.
Don't get mad at us. We're just talking. This is what happens when two friends talk over cocktails.
We don't make any decisions. We're just chatting.
We didn't fix it. But
we didn't break it. We didn't fix it.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks and cheers.
Cheers. Hopefully it stays cheap.